Hey, how you doing? Can I get straight to it? Can we talk about education? You groaned. Can I also, comment on a few things C.S. Makoha said last week? Don't throw things at the screen. It's yours, by the way. He said a couple of things, and one of them was very triggering for some people. He did say that whether or not schools open in the next month, 2 months, is really based on what the Ministry of Health tells them. So he's going to wait for guidelines. He also reminded us that a lot of schools are also isolation centers, and I think that is important for him to tell us. And then he also mentioned that if you're complaining about looking after your children, then maybe you should think twice about creating children. And I know a lot of people are like, whoa, how dare he? I don't know whether you're aware of this, but he's not the first person to head this docket who's made that very same statement. I remember a couple of years ago when Professor Kiapi was in charge of the education docket, and you were all whining about longer holidays and school should not start as early. I remember we used to send children to school at 5 a.m. and this nonsense called tuition and people said, what do you want us to do with the children? But he said, they are yours. If you don't know what to do with them, who does? Anyway, I want to talk about online learning in all its facets, because it takes on different facets for different demographics, different areas, different age groups as well. And the reason I want to talk about it is that I'm very alive to the fact that this thing called online learning, brought on obviously by COVID-19, is in a very large part a very huge global experiment. At any one point, about 1.2 to 1.3 billion kids around the world are out of school. Now, those kids go from kids who have access to the internet and have their own laptops or tablets and have got, access to apps like Zoom and Teams and God knows what else is out there. Oh, I do like the Google one as well. And kids who don't have any of that at all. But because I'm an urbanite and I'm a Nairobian, I will have this conversation from what I know. And then you will tell me what I should know and what you know. Okay, can we do that? So I'm very passionate about this particular point I'm going to make, that I believe that online learning, where you have the infrastructure and you have the resources, works for children over the age of 11, 12 actually. They have the capacity to sit and be engaged and take part in an online learning experience for 45 minutes to an hour. Of course, there's got to be breaks in between. Kids under the age of 11, under the age of 10, under the age of 9, 4-year-olds, even if schools are trying to justify, fees, no. I'm sorry, no. They have the attention span of a banana. Let's start there. And also, sadly, and I remember watching my daughter over a period of time before I made the decision, and I'll tell you what my decision was, is that at some point, she would kind of start, strolling around, and I'd ask her what's going on. She says, my head hurts, Mama. And I watched her for a while and I realized actually her head is hurting. She's not lying about that. And then, you take a day and you work from home completely, because I come into the office, and you listen to the class, and you realize, no. So I'm very blessed that I'm able to get a tutor who sits with my daughter for 2 hours, and they go through what I consider the important items and the syllabus. But I can see the difference. The one-on-one is so important. And I think for children under the age of 11, that one-on-one, that having a teacher present, a person, a body is so important. Her handwriting is better, her spellings are better, her reading, her maths. I mean, she's always been good at that, by the way. But I can tell, her ability to just get concepts. And also, here's the thing. It's not a classroom setting, my dining room has been taken over, but I can tell just having that one-on-one is really, really working. But here's the truth. Not every parent can do that. I can, okay? So we go back to what the default learning method is, and it's online. And to be honest, Other than what I know, under the age of 11, nah. I think it's nice to be able to log on and see friends. I think that sense of community is also really important. But remember, once again, you're talking about a demographic of society, whether it's here in Nairobi, in Abuja, in Santon, in Tokyo, that have the resources and the infrastructure for that. That is not true for almost 95% of the students we're talking about around the world. Once again, I'll funnel back to Kenya and Nairobi. Are you a person who believes online learning works and this is why it works and these are the tools and this is what it needs to be like because we can learn from you? Or are you like me where, and my problem is I don't have bandwidth. I really have problems. I can't masticate issues. I hate it. So the first thing I do is I fix it. And because it was not working for me, I got a tutor. I mean, it took me 48 hours to identify one, get a lesson plan from that tutor, and we went for it. But it's because I don't have bandwidth. My capacity to I can't. No. Does it work for you? Does it not? Tell me why. What works? I'm opening the Pandora's box. I don't have the answers, but I have a feeling in this conversation, answers will emerge. Let's talk online learning and the education of our children. Don't comment on Makoha. You will lose traction of what we're doing here. Yeah, stay on track, okay? And stay safe. And stay with me. And thank you for being here.